Taurus, August 14th, 2026 arrives with a message that may feel strangely personal. Something you have been trying to hold together may be asking you to change the way you hold it. This is not necessarily a day of loss. In fact, it may be the beginning of a much more stable chapter. But first, you may have to recognize what is no longer worth carrying. The sky is especially active around this date. The Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter are in Leo. Venus is in Libra. Mars has recently entered Cancer, while Saturn and Neptune remain retrograde in Aries and Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius. The Moon is moving through Virgo. For Taurus, this creates a fascinating mixture of home, money, communication, career responsibilities, emotional security, and personal transformation. And there is something else you should know. You may receive information around this period that changes the way you look at a situation you thought you already understood. So Taurus, don't rush through August 14th. Listen carefully. Observe carefully. Because sometimes the most important message doesn't arrive as a dramatic announcement. Sometimes it arrives as one sentence, one phone call, one unexpected invitation, one number on a document, one person's reaction, and suddenly everything makes sense. Before we go deeper into your reading, if you are a Taurus, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay with me until the end, because there is an important message here about your money, your relationships, and a decision that could quietly influence the direction of your future. Taurus, the first thing I want you to understand is that you are entering a period where security and change are no longer enemies. For a long time, you may have believed that stability meant keeping everything exactly the same. The same job, the same routine, the same relationship, the same financial strategy, the same people around you. But stability does not always mean sameness. Sometimes true stability comes from knowing that you can adapt when life changes. And August 14th may begin teaching you exactly that. The Virgo moon brings practical, analytical energy into the day. It encourages you to examine details, organize unfinished matters, and notice things that have previously escaped your attention. For Taurus, this can be extremely useful. You may suddenly notice a pattern, something about your work, something about your spending, something about a relationship, something about the way you have been treating yourself. And once you notice it, you may not be able to pretend you don't see it anymore. This is where your transformation begins. Not with a dramatic explosion, with awareness. And Taurus, awareness can be more powerful than action. Because once you truly understand what is happening, the right action becomes much easier. Professionally, this period can bring a meaningful shift in your perspective. You may have been wondering whether your current work is giving you enough room to grow. Perhaps you have been doing more than your official responsibilities require. Perhaps you feel that somebody else is receiving recognition for work you helped create. Or perhaps you have quietly started thinking about a completely different career direction. Don't dismiss those thoughts. They may be telling you something important. The Leo influence surrounding the Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter emphasizes visibility, leadership, confidence, creativity, and expansion. For Taurus, that energy can bring greater attention to your private life, home environment, and the foundations from which you build your professional future. You may realize that your career decisions are connected to something deeper. Maybe you want more money because you want freedom. Maybe you want a different job because you want more time with your family. Maybe you want your own business because you want control over your schedule. Maybe you want to leave a stressful environment because you finally understand that peace has value too. That is why I want you to ask yourself, what am I actually trying to achieve? Not what would impress other people. Not what sounds successful. What would genuinely make your life better? That answer could become extremely important over the next few weeks. There may also be a professional conversation around this time that deserves your attention. Someone could ask about your future plans. A manager could offer additional responsibilities. A colleague could mention an opening. A former contact could reach out. Or you may hear about a project that wasn't available to you before. Don't immediately say no simply because the opportunity looks unfamiliar. But don't say yes without understanding the details either. Taurus, your strength is your ability to build slowly. Use it. A foundation built carefully can support a much bigger structure later. Financially, this period deserves your full attention. You are entering a moment where small financial decisions can have surprisingly large consequences. Maybe there is an expense you have been ignoring. Maybe a payment is approaching. Maybe you have been saving for something important. Maybe you are considering an investment. Or perhaps you simply want to feel more secure about your future. Whatever your situation, August 14th encourages financial realism. Don't make decisions because someone promises you quick results. Don't spend money because you are trying to escape an emotional mood. And don't allow pressure from other people to influence your financial choices. Your money is connected to your freedom. Treat it accordingly. At the same time, there is positive potential here. A skill you already possess could become more valuable. A side income may begin developing. A delayed opportunity may return. A small project could become more serious. Or someone may introduce you to a person who can help you professionally. The important thing is not to underestimate small beginnings. Taurus understands this better than almost any other sign. A seed doesn't look like a tree. A first payment doesn't look like wealth. A first customer doesn't look like a business. A single opportunity doesn't look like a new life. But everything large begins small. So don't reject something simply because it is not yet impressive. Now let's move into love. And Taurus, this is where the energy becomes much more emotional. You may be craving something very simple. Security. Honesty. Consistency. You don't want to constantly wonder where you stand with someone. You don't want mixed signals. You don't want to decode messages. You don't want to chase. And you are becoming increasingly unwilling to accept relationships that make you feel uncertain about your own worth. That is not stubbornness. That is emotional maturity. If you are already in a relationship, August 14th may encourage an honest conversation about the future. Maybe the conversation is about money. Maybe about home. Maybe about family. Maybe about responsibilities. Maybe about where the relationship is actually going. Don't avoid these conversations simply because they feel uncomfortable. Sometimes love becomes stronger when two people stop pretending everything is perfect and start building something real. Venus is in Libra around August 14th, a placement associated astrologically with balance, partnership, harmony, and cooperation. This can support compromise, but Taurus, remember that compromise should not mean abandoning your needs. A healthy relationship does not require one person to disappear so the other person can be comfortable. You deserve to be heard too. If you are single, there may be a fascinating possibility around you. Someone could enter your social environment through work, friends, family connections, online communication, or a casual meeting. And this person may not initially appear to be your usual type. That could actually be what makes the connection interesting. You may notice that the conversation feels easy. There may be a sense that you don't need to perform. You don't need to impress. You can simply be yourself. Pay attention to that feeling. Because Taurus, the right person does not always create fireworks. Sometimes the right person creates peace. And after everything you have experienced, peace may become much more attractive than drama. But there is a warning. Don't let loneliness turn potential into certainty. You may like someone. That doesn't mean you know them yet. Give the connection time. Watch their actions. Watch how they treat people when they have nothing to gain. Watch whether their words match their behavior. That will tell you much more than chemistry alone. Now, Taurus, we need to talk about the past. There is a possibility that something you thought was finished may briefly return to your awareness. Perhaps someone from the past contacts you. Perhaps an old memory returns. Perhaps a previous disappointment becomes relevant to a current decision. Or perhaps you simply realize that you have been repeating an emotional pattern without noticing it. This doesn't mean you are going backward. It means you are finally seeing the lesson. Imagine walking through an old neighborhood after many years. The buildings are still there. The streets look familiar. But you are different. You don't live there anymore. That is what emotional growth can feel like. You can remember something without returning to it. You can forgive someone without trusting them again. You can love someone and still understand that they are not part of your future. And you can miss an old version of your life without wanting it back. That distinction could become very important for Taurus around this time. Your emotional strength is growing quietly. You may not notice it because you are not becoming louder. You are becoming calmer. And calmness is a powerful form of strength. Now let's talk about your home and family life. Mars has recently entered Cancer, bringing stronger emotional and protective themes into the atmosphere. For Taurus, this can increase your sensitivity to family matters, communication, and the people closest to you. Someone may need your support. A family discussion may require patience. A household decision may need to be made. Or you may suddenly feel the need to protect your personal space. Don't be afraid to establish boundaries. You can love someone and still say no. You can care about your family and still need time alone. You can support someone without taking responsibility for their entire life. That last point is especially important. You have a tendency to carry responsibilities because you want things to remain stable. But stability built entirely on your shoulders eventually becomes exhaustion. Let other people carry their share. Your life is not a one-person construction project. Now let's talk about your energy. Your body may be asking for something your mind keeps postponing. Rest. Routine. Better sleep. Better food. Less unnecessary stress. The Virgo moon encourages practical self-care, and for Taurus, simple routines can be more powerful than dramatic changes. You don't need to transform your entire lifestyle overnight. Start with one thing. Sleep earlier. Drink more water. Take a walk. Organize your room. Reduce screen time. Finish one task you've been avoiding. These things may seem insignificant, but small acts of order can create a surprising sense of emotional control. And Taurus, there is another psychological shift happening. You are beginning to understand that you don't have to wait until you are completely exhausted before giving yourself permission to rest. Rest is not failure. Rest is maintenance. Even the strongest building needs repairs. Now let's move into the timing of August 14th. The morning may feel more serious and practical. You could be thinking about responsibilities, money, work, or something you need to organize. Don't resist that energy. Use it. Make the list. Check the numbers. Answer the email. Review the document. Finish the thing you have been postponing. The more organized you become, the lighter you may feel later. As the day develops, the emotional atmosphere can become deeper. The moon's challenging contacts with Saturn and Pluto can symbolically bring feelings around pressure, control, responsibility, or emotional intensity to the surface. If someone says something that triggers you, don't respond immediately. Take a breath. Give yourself time. Ask, is this actually about today? Or is this touching something much older? That question can save you from unnecessary conflict. Because sometimes the person standing in front of you is not responsible for the pain you are reacting to. And sometimes today's argument is simply opening yesterday's wound. Be gentle with yourself. And be fair to others. As you move toward the weekend, communication becomes increasingly important. Mercury in Leo forms supportive connections around this period that astrologically emphasize communication, ideas, quick insights, and clearer decision-making. For Taurus, that could mean receiving information that helps you make a decision. A conversation could suddenly make your next step obvious. You might hear a suggestion that inspires a business idea. You could receive a message that changes your opinion about someone. Or you may finally find the courage to say something you have been holding inside. Don't underestimate honest communication. Words can open doors. Words can close cycles. And sometimes one honest sentence can save you months of confusion. Taurus, the larger story here is about building a future that feels secure without becoming trapped by the past. That is your balance. You love stability, but stability without growth becomes stagnation. You love loyalty, but loyalty without boundaries becomes self-neglect. You love comfort, but comfort without challenge can keep you in a place you have already outgrown. The universe is not trying to take your security away. It is teaching you how to create a stronger kind of security. One that doesn't depend on everything staying the same. And this may be why certain things feel uncertain right now. Uncertainty is sometimes the space between the old structure and the new one. You are standing in that space. And you may not like it, but don't rush to fill it with the first thing that makes you feel safe. Wait, observe. Choose carefully. Because what comes next deserves a stronger foundation. There may also be a new person entering your life who teaches you something important. Maybe a colleague. Maybe a friend. Maybe a romantic interest. Maybe someone older or more experienced. Their role may not be permanent, but their influence could be. Sometimes people enter our lives not to stay forever, but to change the direction of the road. Stay open. Now, Taurus, let's talk about your biggest opportunity. It may not be an obvious financial opportunity. It may be an opportunity to change your standards. You may finally decide that you deserve better communication, better treatment, better work conditions, better financial habits, better boundaries, better relationships, better treatment from yourself. And once your standards change, your choices change. Once your choices change, your life begins changing. That is how transformation really happens. Not overnight. Decision by decision. Boundary by boundary. Day by day. So if August 14th brings you a moment of doubt, don't assume you are lost. You may simply be between two versions of yourself. The old Taurus wants certainty before moving. The emerging Taurus understands that sometimes certainty comes after the first step. And that is the lesson. You don't need to see 10 years ahead. You only need to see the next honest step. Maybe that step is applying for something. Maybe it's saving money. Maybe it's ending a toxic pattern. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation. Maybe it's allowing someone new to get closer. Maybe it's finally admitting what you really want. Whatever it is, don't choose based on fear. Choose based on alignment. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to the life I want? If the answer is yes, take it seriously. If the answer is no, don't let nostalgia make the decision for you. Taurus, the coming period is not about becoming someone completely different. It is about becoming more intentional. You are learning that peace is valuable. That time is valuable. That energy is valuable. That money is valuable. And most importantly, your attention is valuable. Don't give all of these things away to people and situations that only take from you. Protect what you are building. Protect your dreams. Protect your emotional space. Protect your future. Because something beautiful can grow from the changes happening now. A stronger financial foundation. A healthier relationship. A better career direction. A more peaceful home. Clearer mind. And a version of you that no longer feels responsible for controlling everything. Remember this, Taurus. You do not have to hold on to everything in order to keep your life stable. Some things can leave. Some people can change. Some plans can evolve. Some doors can close. And you can still be okay. More than okay. You can become stronger. As August 14th unfolds, listen to the quiet signals. The conversation that feels important. The idea that refuses to disappear. The opportunity that seems small. The person whose actions surprise you. The expense that suddenly feels unnecessary. The old memory that finally loses its emotional power. These are the little clues. And perhaps the biggest clue of all will be the feeling inside you when you realize, I don't need to force this anymore. That is when you know you have changed. Taurus, your future is not asking you to move recklessly. It is asking you to move wisely. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep your heart open. Keep your standards high. And don't be afraid to let life rearrange itself. Because sometimes the universe does not destroy the structure you built. It simply removes the pieces that were preventing you from expanding it. And when you look back later, you may realize that August 14th was not the day everything changed. It was the day you finally understood why it had to change.